Did you? I know. Wasn't it nice to let everyone know I'm still around? I don't know what it means to be hacked. Does it affect everyone else? Does it? Hi, Anne. Oh, you're handsome and tall. Last time I saw you, you were not so handsome and tall. Not so I did see her. She doesn't really look like she's still
Excuse me, everybody. If you could move forward and take a seat, that means that we'll be able to judge how many more seats we can bring in. So we're going to start in about 10 minutes, please.
Wait, so where can I see? Yeah. Oh, what is everything in the phone?
Good morning, everyone. My name's Paul Viggers, and we have a slight delay due to a flower mishap. So can everyone just wait a couple of minutes? And then they're going fast from Hillsville, so yeah, them's the right. Sorry.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to this event to remember the life of Fiona Andersen, daughter of Jim and Diana Vickers. My name's David Lindenmeyer. I am Fiona's brother-in-law. I knew Fiona for more than 32 years. So before we start, I'm going to turn off my phone and I'm going to ask if other people might do this, please. I'd like to thank everybody that's travelled here today. Some people have travelled a very long distance. I'd also like to acknowledge that there are people who couldn't be here today, but who are watching on the live stream. And our thoughts are with them. I know that their thoughts are with us, and we send our love to them. The loss of Fiona is a true sadness that we will carry with us for the rest of our lives. The loss of Fiona is also something that shows us the preciousness of life and also the fragility of life. As you'll hear from the next few speakers, Fiona was incredibly bright and exceptionally talented. And as we can see from the enormous number of people that are here, Fiona had a huge impact on a huge number of people in her life's journey. So let's pay tribute to Fiona. Let's remember her and appreciate her for her many talents, many stories. And our first speaker is my wife and Fiona's sister, Karen Viggers.
Welcome to you all, and thank you so much for coming to help commemorate Fiona's life. I think she'd be amazed and delighted to see just how many people loved and cared for her. Fiona was a brilliant, loving, complex person. During her life, she had many happy times with family and friends and students, and she touched the lives of many, many people. Today, I'm going to focus on her contributions, achievements, and friendships. When I was in primary school, one of the first books I borrowed from the big school library was My Naughty Little Sister by Dorothy Edwards. I can't remember the details of that book, except that I used to tease Fiona, saying that it could have been written about her. Her strong will and determined nature surfaced early. I remember a time when Mum wanted, because Fiona was a third child and often third children don't get as many photos taken of them, Mum wanted to get some professional photos taken of Fiona, and I remember her being with her, with my father when my mum called. We must have been at home, saying, "She won't sit still and she won't smile for the camera." But that photographer must have been a magician, because he did take some lovely photos of her. There was also a time Mum was at the kitchen sink when we were living in the grounds around the Preston Reservoir at Reservoir, and the train line used to run down the back of where we lived. And Mum was at the kitchen sink doing some work, and she heard this tooting, and saw a train going very, very slowly along the road, along the railway, and then she realised that Fiona was missing and raced down there and found her right by the railway track. And then there was another time when we were all around the side at the same house, packing things to go up to our farm, and Fiona must have come out of the house, and we lived in a big property around the reservoir grounds, and she must have come out of the house and couldn't see anybody, so she decided to go looking for us. And she walked right out of the property. I think she was 3 or 4, crossed the main road, High Street in Reservoir, which is a really busy road, and she thought she was heading to Emerald, but went the opposite way, which is where our farm was. And we were all hunting all around the grounds for her, and then this car came into the grounds, and there was Fiona, the man driving, and Fiona sitting up on the front seat. He brought her home, found her down the street and brought her home. We had a great childhood growing up on the farm at Emerald in the Dandenongs, riding horses and going to events as a family. I think that period of our lives was the time when we were closest as a family. Just the other day, Dad said that he would miss family gatherings when Fiona, Paul and I would reminisce about some of the funny stories from our horse riding days. Fiona especially, those who know her would know, would become very animated when we recounted those stories. Like all the times we had to gallop along the track near Emerald Lake to avoid Puffing Billy because our horses were terrified of his toot. And the way Fiona's first pony, King, used to charge at us in the paddock when he didn't want to be caught. And the way he bit everybody. And Fiona would say to others that he was just kissing her so that people wouldn't think he was a bad horse. Horses bonded us. Fiona, Paul and I spent hours riding together down the paddock and along roads where you never see anyone riding horses anymore. We supported each other and we went along to each other's events. And the day before, we'd wash and plait the horses and clean saddles and bridles in the tack room and pack the old green Land Cruiser and get up the next morning at 6 a.m. on the day of the event. Only 2 horses could fit in the horse float, of course, so we used to take turns. And all of us enjoyed success at Pony Club, both at Pony Club and at open levels. We loved going to those events together, and we made many friends. Some of you are here today. Fiona went to Mitcham Primary, then to MLC for a year. Then Mum and Dad moved to Yarra Glen, where Fiona went to Healesville High. As many of you will know, Fiona was extremely bright and intelligent, the cleverest of us all. At Healesville High, she was streets ahead in classes, so they skipped her up a year. But she still knew more in maths than the maths teacher, and she used to correct him when he got his maths solutions wrong. Parent-teacher interviews were also interesting. One of the electives she had to do was photography, and she detested it. And when Mum and Dad went along to parent-teacher interviews, the photography teacher said that Fiona hadn't performed very well in the exam. The question that he'd asked was, if you were at the Grand Canyon and the light was like this, and you had this sort of photographic equipment, what would you do? And Fiona wrote a very short answer: buy a postcard. I don't think the teacher appreciated that. After a short stint at Healesville, Fiona shifted to Tintern, which was a wonderful school for her. She loved it there and made lifelong friends, some of whom are here today as well. It was at Tintern that she discovered her amazing singing voice and became involved in drama, which is to become one of her great passions in life. After school, Fiona started a marketing degree, but quickly decided this wasn't for her and switched to teaching. This was definitely her calling in life. When she was little, I remember she used to set up in her bedroom a chalkboard and line her dolls up on the floor in position around her, and she would teach them. She would read to them and teach them maths and scold them when they were naughty. She loved playing imaginative games, and she and I used to spend hours playing dolls up at Emerald back in the old days when it used to rain all the time and we were stuck indoors without a TV. Natural teacher. She loved young people and connected especially with teenagers. She would communicate with them and understand them in ways that no one else could. She absolutely adored teaching and taught at several schools, including Eltham College, Yarra Valley Grammar, Our Lady of Mercy College, Burbank Girls Grammar and Caulfield Grammar. At all those schools she taught maths and drama, an unusual combination, the yin and yang, the left and right-sided brain, and she was brilliant at both. She had a remarkable ability with numbers as well as an inherent creative flair. She was one of those rare people who possessed both of these talents. She had a special maths brain. I always had to work hard at maths and struggled with the mechanics of it all, but it came easily to Fiona. At Melbourne Uni, when she was studying her Bachelor of Education, she topped all the maths classes and did so seemingly without trying. For instance, in her maths logic class, she never went to a single lecture, and she topped the year, and I think she popped in for one class afterwards, and the lecturer said, "Now, who is this Fiona Biggers? I've never met you." And Fiona put up her hand, and yes, she topped the class without attending a single lecture. She said, "Logic is easy, it's just so obvious." Not to anyone else, but clearly to Fiona. As a teacher, she helped children to develop a love for maths. She worked with students who were struggling and retaught them the basics and brought them up to speed. She also worked with gifted students too and encouraged them to extend themselves. They all loved her. She also taught drama and produced amazing school plays and musicals that blew parents and students away. She had an incredible vision for these things: stagecraft, choreography, direction, teaching students to cultivate emotion and conviction in their acting. She loved to challenge students to think about life and social issues that affect us all. She aspired to draw them out of themselves and help them develop confidence so they could live larger, richer lives. She also taught human development and talked openly with students about all aspects of life and growing up. While she was teaching, she completed a Master's in Education focusing on leadership. As a result of this, she set up a wonderful sisterhood program at Burbank. It was a program that integrated girls from each year level through the high school years, 7 to 12. And it was a visionary program that encouraged older girls to become mentors and gave younger girls connections and support and friendships on their way up through the school. I remember Fiona telling me about this program with such excitement and enthusiasm and pride. She had a great talent for creativity and bringing this out in others. Friends have described her as incredibly smart and entertaining, a vibrant life force, engaging, funny, deeply sensitive. Someone posted a message saying that at school we could hear Fiona coming, her laughter and her singing ringing through the corridors. Another message said Fiona was a bright, shiny star, an astonishing intellect, talented musician, women's advocate, loving mother, loyal friend, and just so much fun to be around. Others mentioned Fiona's infectious energy and whip-smart intellect, her voice, her vivaciousness, her love and affection. She was all these things and more. Of course, in the midst of all this, she met Graham and had her 3 beautiful boys, Hamish, Oscar and Sebastian. There were many happy times with family and friends, especially down at Sandy Point, where she was often at her happiest, with kids and friends and dogs and the beautiful beach. It was her favourite place. She loved to have people around her and to laugh and talk and hear their stories. Above all, she loved her 3 boys. She always wanted the best for them. She told me many times that she'd raised them to be strong and have good lives. In recent months, she spent time in Lombok, where she connected with the local community, both adults and children. When I went over there, I met many people who had become her friends and who loved her. She befriended the children on the beach at Kuta Lombok and organised clean-up drives, paying them to collect all the plastic rubbish on the beach. She was in the process of setting up a charity to support these children to do clean-ups on an ongoing basis. She also had plans to raise sponsorship so she could teach the local children, especially the little girls, and help them to receive an education. Over in Lombok, parents have to pay for their children to go to school, even in primary school. And so levels of education are low because there's a lot of poverty. Fiona saw a teaching role for herself helping these children. Unfortunately, she didn't get to see all this happen. I will always remember Fiona as a brilliant, creative visionary with great ideas and a remarkable passion for people and teaching children. She was a charismatic, magnetic woman who gave her all to people around her. We all loved her unconditionally. I miss her terribly and always will. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I know only too well how many times that talk's been rewritten over the last week. Now we'd like to go through a number of family tributes from close family members. So, Dana, if you'd like to come and talk to the audience, please.
After that, thank you, dear people, for being here today to share our love of Fiona. Thank you. A word to just put that away. I have to be able to read that. Move it back, please. Can you hear me now? A word to describe Fiona is love. Fiona always had great love in her heart and gave great happiness, fun, laughter and warmth to people she met. She was interested in people's feelings and needs and showed great empathy and understanding to them. She was always there for you as a friend, companion or confidant in good times and low. She brought love and happiness with her smile, her manner, her cheerfulness, her personality, her sense of enjoyment of life. She filled my heart with love, and she loved her 3 boys, Hamish, Oscar and Sebastian, dearly. Fiona always reached up and out with love, compassion, ambition, talent, and shared her life with family and friends. At Melbourne University, she did a double degree in mathematics and drama. She was the only one studying maths and drama degree at the university. She came top of the maths department. Fiona also gained her Master of Educational Leadership at Monash University. Fiona was a brilliant, gifted secondary teacher, teaching maths to Year 12 and drama, directing and producing many school musicals and school spectaculars and rocker statements. As a student herself, she excelled academically. In the school debating team, had the lead roles in the school musicals of My Fair Lady and South Pacific at Tintern, and the lead roles at Melbourne University. when she was there. Fiona had a beautiful singing voice, and I didn't realise how talented and her range of voice was until I heard her sing the song yesterday to me. She sang at many functions with Chris Wynn, a noted guitarist, at music festivals, weddings, parties, funerals, wine festivals, and also while riding her horse around the valley. Fiona enjoyed learning and successfully playing the piano. She ran several marathons around Melbourne, Sydney and Yarra Valley. She shared her love of calisthenics with me, competing for many years in competitions around Melbourne. Fiona was a champion horse eventer, competing in dressage, cross-country, show jumping at open level at the age of 14. She was a horse judge and instructor, sharing the love of horses as she instructed. Fiona always strived and aimed to achieve and excel, to be her best. She was a beautiful, loving daughter. My spirit will always be with her forever, with adoring love. A special letter I've written for Fiona. To my joy of life. How lonely my heart is, and how empty the hills are without you. I hope beautiful butterflies fly free around you again. May blessings and sun rays shine for you and around you forever, my sweet fragrant flower of life. And the dazzling glint of bubbling rushing water swirl over your gay laughter forever, and carry your smile to the birds above, and soothe the ebbing tides till my cup overfloweth with loving memories. Mum, thank you.
If I could ask now for Fiona's eldest son, Hamish Andersen, to come and speak briefly. Thank you.
It's not very often that three sons have to deal with the loss of their mother at the ages of 18, 16 and 15, and a remarkable mother at that. Fiona was an old soul. She had the blueprint for life laid out before she was born to the person who we knew and continue to love to this day. She was the only person in the world who could truly see me. She understood me. She felt my pain, but also my happiness, my isolation, but also my excitement. She was a part of me, a part of my soul that was being torn away. I loved her to the physical extent that a human could. We had a bond between us I had never before seen between a mother and her son. There was not one detail about myself or what I got up to that I didn't tell my mum, nor one detail that I felt like I couldn't tell her without judgment. No matter what I rambled on to her about, she always said what I needed to hear. She constantly was on my tail about school and uni and always pushed me to make myself proud. She never hesitated to welcome friends and family with warm, embracing arms and made everybody feel both loved and special. She was a monument of love that gave even the loneliest people a sense of belonging and a place to call home. Many of my friends even called her their second mum, and she would call many of my friends her fourth child. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that the universe has lost such a special person. It simply doesn't feel real. She impacted so many lives in such beautiful ways, as I'm sure most of you here today know and can appreciate. She was always my brother and I's biggest advocate and would support us every step of the way through whatever we endeavoured or pursued. She will always deserve an unrivaled spot in both my heart and my soul till the end of time, and everything I do from now on will be for her in a memory and legacy. I know that her incredible soul is at a much-deserved rest now, and that she's smiling over us all with an everlasting love. We're also lucky to have known and have played a role, significant or not, in her amazing life. I'd now like to end my tribute with a poem by W.H. Auden. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog barking with a juicy bone. Silence pianos, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle, moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message she is dead. Put crepe bows around the white necks of the public doves, let traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. She was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever, I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now, put out everyone, pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good. I love you more than anything, Mum, and I'll see you in another lifetime.
Thank you, Hamish. Could I ask Fiona's youngest son, Sebastian, to come and speak to us, please?
Hello everyone, my name is Sebastian. But before I start speaking today, I'd like to give a special thanks to my dad for staying strong and going above and beyond to help set up the funeral and everything else during these times. Thanks, Dad. My mother, Fiona Andersen, sadly passed away. My mum was always so thoughtful, unique, caring, colourful and kind. Fiona was like a ray of sunshine in a dark room. She touched so many people's hearts with her love, including my own. Me and my mum always had such an unbreakable bond together, always sharing our thoughts on things, telling each other secrets and so on. Fiona always had a smile on her face since the day she was born, a contagious smile. Her smile was brighter than the sun. She would always put other people before herself. She was never selfish and would always look out for other people. She was a brave and courageous woman, thriving to try her best, do the best, and accomplish the best. Fiona was a person that you feel like you'd known for years when you talked to her. She always gave the best advice. Mum would always look out for me when times were bad, help me go to sleep, help me eat, help me get up in the morning, everything you could possibly imagine. Every person who was interacting with Fiona would know how much of a heartwarming soul she had. Fiona was a rebel, never wanted to follow the rules or break them, but bend them. Have some fun in life. Someone once said about Fiona, she has the soul of 1,000 lives, and she sure does. She's the most down-to-earth, nicest person anyone could ever meet. I've had a couple of friend groups over my years, and in all my honesty, every single one of my mates that have met my mum would always tell me how much they love her, care for her, and appreciate her. Even my girlfriend had only met her once, just once, and immediately started liking her. She told me she could relate to her and felt like she could be honest and open with her. That goes for everyone. Fiona was so open to everyone, you could talk to her about anything and she would never judge you. Being here today makes me realize how much you need to appreciate your loved ones and how lucky we are to have them. I've spent the last 15 years of my life living with my mum, and I'm so grateful for those special 15 years. Thank you, Mum, and may you rest easy. I love you.
Thank you, Sebastian. Oscar Andersen, if you could come and talk to us about your mum.
Wait a second. Hello everyone, my name is Oscar and I'm Fiona's son. Today I am honoured to share Fiona's tribute with all of you. Fiona was an incredibly worldly and kind person. Wherever she went, she effortlessly made friends and forged close connections. But not with just me and my brothers, but also all of our friends. She had a unique ability to see eye to eye with everyone, making her my best friend. Fiona supported me unwaveringly in every decision I made, always fighting for me, whether it was a school telling me to cut my hair or ride my scooter to school, the helmet and stuff like that. She understood me deeply and took the time to listen to my side of the story for every mistake I made. Fiona consistently encouraged me to keep my head up and remain resilient in the face of life's challenges. From what she told me, Fiona had the most exciting life. There was almost nothing she didn't want to try, and her dedication was unmatched. In the last few months of her life, she dedicated herself to improving the world by cleaning the beaches of Lombok. Fiona gave more love to the world than she received. She always believed that we didn't need her anymore, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I need her now more than ever. She provided the best advice on life, and I deeply regret not listening to her more. One of my fondest memories with Mum was our drives to Sandy Point with Matthew. During this ride, we engaged in deep and funny conversations about our life and experiences. Fiona was the biggest supporter of my relationship with Grace, and her last words to Grace were to have my babies. She loved my friends as if they were her own children, especially Matthew. There was a special place in her heart for him. Sometimes I would be in my room playing games while she and Matthew chatted for hours. She adored most Matthew and Grace as her own. Fiona's presence was truly remarkable. She connected with others effortlessly, leaving a positive impact wherever she went. Her love and wisdom will continue to inspire us. Fiona will be deeply missed, but the legacy of her kindness and love will endure. May she rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. As you can hear, Fiona had and Graham welcomed many people into their family, and one of those was Matt Duganbath. You could please come and tell us.
Hello everyone, my name is Matthew and I knew Fiona for 7 amazing years. Everyone here has different memories of Fiona, memories filled with joy, laughter or even sadness. But no matter what those memories are, they will be cherished. Fiona was always there for me, and I know she could always put a smile on mine or anyone else's face. Fiona was the most amazing and one of, if not the most influential people in my life. She knew what to say and would help me no questions asked. My fondest memory of Fiona was from years ago. She was director of a school play, the Laramie Project. She was so excited about the play, both before it happened and after. Her smile radiated, lighting up the entire room. On the walk back to the car, all she could do was smile and praise everyone who was in the play. That's the type of person Fiona was, thinking about others before herself, and that's the type of person she has made me aspire to be. She knew that if you put a smile on someone else's face, it would put a smile on yours. She knew that no matter what you do, you should always be kind to everyone. She will always be in my heart, and I will love, cherish, and remember her for everything she has done, said, accomplished, and achieved. One of my favourite things about Fiona is that we could talk for hours on end. No matter what we were talking about, Fiona would find a way to make it positive and meaningful. She was so welcoming and heartwarming. The first time I met Fiona was at Oscar's 11th birthday party. I had come straight from a rugby game and had mud all over me. The first thing she had said to me was, "Hi, welcome, come in." Even though she had never met me, she was so welcoming and told me I could have a shower before we left. I know that doesn't sound monumental or special, but telling a 10-year-old she had only just met and her son only knew for a few months that he could have a shower before they left showed me how much she cared. Over the next few years, I would spend hundreds of hours at the Andersen house. Nearly every day after school, Oscar and I would walk there, and every time Fiona got home, both Oscar and I would get a hug and questions about our day. At the ages of 10 to 13, you would think that you're too cool from a hug from your friend's mum, and too cool to talk about your day. But as I've grown up, I began to realise how sentimental those moments are. Over those years, I grew closer to Fiona and the rest of the Andersen family. I grew so close, I don't consider Oscar, Hamish and Seb friends or acquaintances. I consider them brothers. I'll stick with them through thick and thin, and will always love them wholeheartedly. So Fiona, I love you and miss you, and so do many others. I want you to remember that.
Thank you, boys, for some very passionate and very articulate memories there. Graham Andersen, if you'd like to come and speak to us, Graham, as Fiona's partner.
Crikey, Charles, I don't know if I can beat that. Boys, and those speeches, I'll never forget them, they were amazing. I don't know if I can beat any of that. I don't know how none of you cried, for goodness sake. This magnificent crowd is testament to how many lives Fiona has touched. And I'm sure if she's up there looking down, she'd want to be here and probably get everyone up, and we're not far off time to have a little wine together, I'd say. Magnificent eulogy, Karen. There's not much more else I think I can say, you know, the words have been spoken. Firstly, a big thank you to all the family and friends that have travelled from far and wide. Really appreciate that. This speech took me about 2 minutes when I practiced it, could be about half an hour. Anyway, Fiona and I first set eyes on each other at the 2004 Morty Fest. I was picking up tickets for the St Kilda pre-season grand final. There's a rarity in itself. When Fiona's friend mentioned, Fiona's friend mentioned I was single man, she piped up and told me that she had a list a mile long of single women that she could give me. I sort of just, shrugged it off and thought, who's this charismatic, beautiful sort of person who had a boyfriend, so I went my own way. It was a few months later, after watching a Saints game, at a good friend Jen's house, who Fiona had just met through a school job that they had done together. It was on June the 6th, 2004, that we decided to stroll down to the local at Morty. Jen was on the phone to Fiona asking her to come on down. Apparently she'd had a big night before and she was umming and ahhing. After a little investigating, I discovered that Fiona was now a single lass herself, and I was more than eager to meet this beautiful young lass. After a couple of drinks together, I asked Fiona if that list was still available that she had mentioned back at the Morty Fest. Her reply was, not a chance, and the rest is history. We love sharing that story with all our friends. We told everyone. It was just, such a nice thing to share together with all the friends on how our lives came together. It's fair to say that our life was straight into full swing from that moment on. And when Fee moved in with me, it wasn't long after that we had to invite our parents around for a bit of a get-together. Now, they were probably thinking we're going to announce that we're getting engaged or buying a house together. But no, we're pregnant. So after a honeymoon period of about 2 months, it was Hamish, then marriage, with Oscar getting a view from the inside. And then why not go for number 3? So there we were, 3 beautiful boys with 18 years of lovely memories. Fantastic holidays together. And none more so than our fantastic trip overseas to Singapore and Bali. There was cruises, Queensland, Canberra up to visit Fee's sister. Our trips to the snow, where we were oh so happy to have the boys up in the open fresh air exercising all day, which we need to get back onto that. It was also, we would put them in ski school and we'd have some much earned free time ourselves as we moved into our life so quickly with 3 boys. And this also allowed us to have a little ski and then slip on down into the lodge for a nice heartwarming mulled wine or 2 or 3. But we've been blessed to have our family holiday house down at Sandy Point. And it's here that we spent so many good times together, as you've heard before. My folks have had Sandy Point for over 40 years, but never have we, or should I say Fee, made so many good friends down there. Fee had a spell down there during COVID and made it her project to clean up the overgrown mess in the corner of our block. Being the corner block on the path to the beach, it was here that Fiona met every Sandy Point local. Your work was amazing, Fee, and I promise I'll dedicate it with a little memorial garden with some pink flowers there on the corner for you. Fiona was intelligent, extremely intelligent, as you've heard. Fiona was beautiful. Fiona was sexy. Fiona was caring. Fiona was loving. And unfortunately, she didn't realise how much she was loved back. Fiona was gorgeous with that distinctive little gap in her front teeth. Fiona was dedicated. Her stories were the love and care and time she spent preparing her horses for the big events will still stick. It was only the other day that I was going through the filing cabinet and came across that Young Achievers Award, and I think with all the stories that you've heard here today, it explains exactly what Fiona was, dedicated, to just put her mind to everything, and was a great achiever. Fiona was a damn good singer, and I'll continue to hear her voice ringing through the house as she went about her daily tasks, moving couches and pictures and things from one side of the house to the other side of the house. Fiona was the drama queen. She got all the lead roles and went on to direct many plays and dance events in her drama teaching career. Fiona was an awesome teacher and mentor to her students. She had a special style and technique in her methods, and the kids absolutely adored her. Fiona was the queen of meeting new people and friends. We'd go out for dinner with people we'd met the night before, and then we'd be going out for dinner the next night with the people that we'd met that night. Confusing, but that's what happened. She just loved meeting people, and, you know, as you've heard. So the friendships. Fiona always mentioned how lucky I was having lifelong friendships with family, and I've got friends here today that, you know, we've known since DOP. And there's a family and friend here in Gillian here that our boys will get the same experience with the Armstrongs. You'll know them all since DOT, and you can hopefully be friends forever. And Julie, you were one of Fiona's true great friends. The Armstrongs, as a family, have been great support to us Andersens for the entire journey, and we all love you dearly. And Fee loved you dearly, Julie. In all seriousness, myself and the boys will be the beneficiaries of a lifetime of Fiona's friendships. A very special mention to Michelle, another one of Fiona's long-time friends, who has been by her side through thick and thin, especially in the last 6 months. And she continues to be a rock for me in the same time in these last couple of weeks. Thank you. The last 5 months, I truly believe Fiona was trying to find a purpose in life. And the project she had in mind was nothing but trying to help the kids and give them an education. Fiona had a tribe of local kids cleaning the beaches up in Lombok like nobody else could. If the 2018 Lombok earthquakes didn't rock the island enough, then I'm sure Fee did. Fiona managed to already leave a small community over there in shock and disbelief. I've been getting texts from at least one of her friends, and she certainly left her mark there. Hamish, Oscar, and Sebastian, my beautiful boys, our beautiful boys. You've lost your mother, who I know loved you all to the bone and wanted nothing but the best for you. Do her proud and make the best of this life. You've been given, and I declare here in front of all of Fiona's family and friends that I'll endeavour to guide our boys through life the best possible way I can. We love you, Fee. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Now we would like to have a photographic reflection of Fiona's life, and that reflection will be accompanied by Fiona's singing the song 1,000 Years, and then another one of her favourite songs, My Eyes Adored You by the Jersey Boys. So perhaps if we can just reflect on Fiona's amazing life for the next few minutes.
standing in front of me. Every breath, every hour has come to this. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I've loved you for 1,000 more. All along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I loved you for 1,000 more. One step closer. One step closer. I have died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I'll love you for 1,000 more. All along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I've loved you for 1,000 more. My eyes adored you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adored you. Like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you. So close, and yet so far. Headed for city lights, climb the ladder up to fortune and fame. Worked my fingers to the bone, made myself a name. Funny, I seem to find that no matter how the years unwind, still I reminisce about the girl I miss and the love I left behind. My eyes adored you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adored you. Like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you. So close, and yet so far. My eyes adored you, though I never laid a hand on you. My eyes adored you. Like a million miles away from me, you couldn't see how I adored you. So close, and yet so far. So close, and yet so
Fiona's brother Paul Vickers to come up with the final words.
I'll leave those. No, I won't stop them. Could have been prepared. Because mummy's there. It's been, that was incredible. I'm going to start with I want to thank everyone both from the Andersen family, the biggest family, for coming here to help us get through this time that you never thought you'd expect at this time of life for myself, for my children, for the Andersen boys, including Graham, and and all the Andersen friends and all the Fiona's friends. It's just like so unfortunate that Fiona has all this love, friends, as everyone has mentioned throughout the whole speeches of this service. And looking around, I see a lot of faces that I haven't seen for a long time, a lot of faces I've never seen. I might not see for a long time, but we welcome you all here, and thank you again so much. Fiona has, I'm only going to touch on Fiona briefly because she has been, I can't add to what has been said. Fiona has 2 speeds, flat out and full noise. And they sound very similar because they are. There's only one thing. Although in saying that, she came with so much love, caring, and as Oscar, Hamish, and Sebastian have said, including Matt and Graham, Mum, Karen, and everyone else, it came with a lot of love, a lot of caring. Fiona and her efforts in life and her achievements have just been unbelievable. I really feel that I am so proud of Oscar, Hamish, Sebastian, and Matt, Graham, and Mum, Dad. I'm sorry for Mum and Dad, but I'm so proud to see those young men come up here in such a hard situation and talk like at their age. I can't even do it now. That was just beautiful. I'm so proud, so strong, young, beautiful young men, and I think you have my support. You have the support of the whole biggest family, all the Andersens. We are here for you, and I am here for you. Anything, anytime. Love you all. I'm just going to close it up now, and just say that the difference between Fiona and Elvis is that you didn't need to be told when Fiona had left the building, because there was a lot of this. Be quiet. There was a lot of this after she had left, and unfortunately, that's what we all have to get used to, is silence in our lives that was once filled with Fiona's life, exuberance and beauty, and now we have to go through it with that silence, and I don't want that. And one other thing that I just noticed too, when I was going through those photos the other day, I opened up an old, Mum gave me an old photo album, and I opened up all the photos fall out of those old photo albums now. But I was looking through them and I was thinking, I wonder who that person is. And I thought, I'm going to ask Fiona. I can't ask Fiona. And that really hurts. I wish I could. So, just on that note, that was a little extra. Love you all. We love you all. And Fiona loves you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Paul. I had to call you Uncle Paul. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I know that Jim and Diana and the Andersen family greatly appreciate this. I know how much Paul and Karen and the rest of the family have worked over the last few weeks. It's a very, very tough time. Thank you again for being here. Thank you for those people who are online as well. Can we now conclude this tribute to an amazing person and continue the stories with some refreshments afterwards. Thank you very much for being here and being part of this.